Hello friends, welcome back. In this video, we will be discussing one more reading comprehension exercise. Reading comprehension exercises are part of your VRC section in CAT and other management entrance examinations. So we have already discussed a lot of questions either in the PDF format or through video mode about the reading comprehension passages. So this is the 63rd exercise. And I presume that by this time, you have already got the fundamental techniques of reading comprehension. First is the reading speed, vocabulary, the ability to understand various topics, and then the logical abilities to analyze the information. So these are the primary skills required for going through your reading comprehension exercises or questions in VARC. So as usual, I want you to do the exercise on your own first before watching the video. The exercise PDF is given in the link that is in the video description. So please open the link and attempt the exercise on your own, then watch the video so that your understanding becomes thorough and very clear. Otherwise, you may have some problems in understanding the nuances of the passage. This is why I recommend attempting the exercise on your own first and then watching the video. All right, so we'll go straight away to the passage. The passage is basically about the belief systems of economists in USA regarding the free market system. And in the free market system, the buyers of a product or the people who are consumers of a product, they are the people who are basically determining the prices of a commodity. This is a free market enterprise that is already given in the passage, and the author is arguing that this system is not really being practiced, even though people say that free market system is prevalent in US and other non-socialist countries. It is the sellers or the people who are manufacturing the product, they are fixing the prices. And in socialist countries or non-socialist countries, especially USA, this is not being done in a very obvious manner. It is done in an indirect or an informal manner, whereas in other socialist, non-socialist countries like European countries and all, it is done in a formal and open manner. And in socialist countries also, price fixing or the fixing of the prices by the sellers is being done. So this is the basic idea of the passage. The passage is split into 4 paragraphs. So these 4 paragraphs are talking about the various ideas in the passage. The ideas are given in a nutshell in an easy to understand manner in this particular slide. So please, if you have gone through the passage, if you read the main points in various paragraphs, idea will become very clear. So first paragraph is saying that most economists in the US are attracted by the free market principle of economics. Yes, they are so much captivated by the free market principle of economics. They are completely under the influence of free market principle of economics, and they think that anything that is going against the free market principle, that is not good. That is the belief of most of the economists. As a result, they don't think that fixing of prices of commodities by the seller called price fixing. So when seller is fixing the prices of the commodities, it is called price fixing. Or any other body other than the buyer is not good. So the economists, they are not able to accept the fact that anybody other than buyers fixing the prices is something good, normal, or has any economic value. So economists are basically thinking that only the buyers should fix the prices of commodities in a free market economy, not the sellers or anybody else. So this is the belief system. But what the passage is saying, however, price fixing is normal in all industrial societies because it is a natural byproduct of industrial development. So it says that even though US is a free market economy and the economists believe that the buyers only should fix the prices, in any industrialized society, US is also an industrial society. So in any industrialized society, price fixing is normal. That is going on because it is a byproduct of industrial development. So it is a thing that is normally happening in an industrialized society. This is the meaning of the first paragraph. And the second paragraph is explaining the last point in the first paragraph, how price fixing is a byproduct or how it is an automatic consequence of industrialization. Because industrialization means all industrialized societies, they need large industries. Only large industries or large firms can survive in the modern industrial world. And when the firms need to be large, only very few number of firms will be there in any industry, because there will not be too much investment for a large number of firms in any industry, because the size of the firms need to be very large. So since the size of the firms need to be very large, the number of firms in any industry will be small, and this small number of large firms will be competing for the same group of consumers. So the same set of consumers will be there in any industry, and this small number of large firms are competing for the same group of consumers. And since they are competing for the same group, they will not be overpricing, or they will not be fixing their prices or charging more than they should be charging, because there is severe competition. So if any particular company is charging more or having their products priced at a higher value, they will lose the business. So that is why, for their self-interest, what they do, they will be not be charging more than what their competitors are charging. This is the principle of free market economics. So free market economic principle says that prices are kept under control because of the competition. No individual company will be charging more than what their competitors are charging, because of the fear of losing the business. So that is their selfish interest. But the other side of the story is that what is happening, for the self-interest of the company, no company will be charging more, but for the common interest of the industry, because the companies in a particular industry will have some self-interest to survive in that industry, and all the companies in a particular industry will have a common interest. What is that common interest? It is to keep the demand stable, because the demand has to be made stable throughout, because they are competing for the same set of consumers. So they need to keep the demand stable, and in all, that is a common interest. All the industries in that particular, all the companies in a particular industry, they are interested to keep the demand stable and continuous, and for that purpose they will not be keeping the products or selling the product at a very low price also. So they will not be charging very high price because of the competition, their own interest, but they will not be keeping the products at a very low price, because that to make the demand steady. Why? There is a fundamental principle of economics that when anything becomes very cheap, its demand goes down, because people think that that product is worth buying. When a product is sold at a very cheap rate, then people have a feeling that that product is not worth buying, so they will not be buying it, so the demand goes down. So this is the demand price principle. When any product is priced at a very high level, it will not have any demand, and any product is priced at a very low level, it again will not have any demand. So in order to keep the demand steady, that is a common interest of all the firms, so they will not be charging it at a, or they will not be pricing it at a very low level. So that is called price fixing, because all the companies in a particular industry, they will be having a common interest of keeping the demand steady, for which they will be keeping the prices at a minimum level, and they will not be charging more. That too is true because of free market economy. And this principle is again a part of price fixing. So that is why the passage says that in all industrial societies, price fixing is going on in some manner, even though the economists will not admit that price fixing is there. Actually, it is happening because it is a byproduct of industrial development, because in a very developed industrial society, only large firms can survive, and large firms, there will be only very few number of large firms competing, and when they compete with each other, they will not be keeping the prices at a high level. True, they will not also be keeping the prices at a low level, because they want to keep the demand steady. So if the prices are made very low, demand will go down. So this is the principle, and the economists are always looking at price fixing from a formal angle. So the economists think that whenever there is price fixing, it is always done in a formal way by all the companies in an industry agreeing with each other that they will keep the prices at a particular level. But this kind of informal price fixing is not being realized by the economics, because in most of the industries, formal price fixing will not be there in USA or in industrialized societies. It will be informal price fixing, where the companies in a particular industry informally agree to keep the prices at a minimum level. So at a fixed level, not at a minimum level, at a fixed level, so that they can keep the demand steady. So this is informal price fixing, and the economists are not realizing this. That is the meaning of the second para. And the third para is moving on to the other non-socialist economies. So first we are talking about USA economy, industrialized society. Then we are talking about other non-socialist economies. No, socialist economies means where the prices are fixed by the government. That is a socialist economy. Means it is different from the capitalist economy or the free market economy. In free market economy, the economy or the freedom is given to the players in the economy to fix the prices. So first, the US economy, we have discussed how price fixing is done in an informal manner. Then the passage is talking about other non-socialist economies where prices are fixed in a formal manner. So if the passage says that when economists are arguing that free market principles are the most efficient form of price establishment, they are not talking about or they are not realizing the non-socialist economies other than USA, where this kind of price fixing is done in a intentional manner and in a very obvious manner. So very intentionally and very obviously it is being done through formal and informal agreements. Means here, the formal and informal agreements are there between companies in a particular industry to do price fixing. And if this system was inefficient, like the US economists are saying, then these countries should have suffered economically, because the US economists are saying that this kind of price fixing is not good for the economy. So if the price fixing was not good for the economy, then how the non-socialist economies other than USA, how their economies are prospering? They should have suffered. That has not happened. Means the non-socialist economies other than USA are also prospering, even though they are doing price fixing. Means the price fixing is not such a bad thing. That is the third para. Then fourth para talks about socialist economies. So first we talked about USA, then we talked about other non-socialist economies. Now we are talking about socialist economies. And socialist economies, prices are actually controlled by the government. So the socialist industries are working within a system of controlled prices. But Soviet Union in the 1970s. So we are taking the instance of Soviet Union. The former Russia's former name is Soviet Union. So Russia and all the provinces that have broken away from Russia right now, they formed the earlier Soviet Union, and Soviet Union was having a socialist economy where prices were fixed by the government. But in the 70s, what they started giving freedom to industries to fix prices in a formal manner. So some freedom, not full freedom, but some freedom was given to industries to fix prices in a more normal manner. And this was done informally in the US and other capitalist economies. That is what we discussed in the second para, because in the second para, we know that free market economies, even though they were preaching that prices are not fixed, prices are actually fixed informally. So that informal system of price fixing, which was done in the USA, that was done in a formal manner in the Soviet Union. And when Soviet Union did this, the US economy said that Soviet Union has changed from socialist principles to free market principles. So that is what the US economists claimed at that time when Soviet Union introduce this change. But what is the reality? The reality is that neither the Soviet firms nor the US firms are subject to free market economic principles as far as price establishment is concerned. That is what we have proven in the first paragraph. Means all the economies, whether they are free market economies or socialist economies, it is not the free market principles that are determining the price establishment. Price establishment, what should be the price of a commodity. So it is only the price fixing by the sellers that determines the price establishment. So neither the Soviet Union firms nor the American firms are subject to the free market economic principles of price establishment. The only difference is that in Soviet Union, it is done in a formal manner. The government is formally giving the freedom to fix prices to the firms, whereas in USA, this kind of formal approval is not there. The US economists, they preach that free market principles are establishing the prices, but in reality, price fixing is done by the sellers. This is the meaning. So basically, the passage is talking about how free economists who support the free market theories are saying that price establishment is done by the buyers in the economy, but in reality, it is the sellers who are doing the price fixing, whether it is in USA or in other non-socialist countries in Europe and other places, and in socialist countries. So price fixing by the sellers is done. It is not such a bad thing. So this is the essence of the passage. Once you understand the essence, the questions become very, very easy. It is only the comprehension part that becomes difficult. So when you read the passage very, very closely, minutely, then and you try to conceptualize this passage into these points like this, then your answering of the questions become very, very easy. So we will now deal with the questions. The primary purpose of the passage. What is the primary purpose of the passage? It is to refute the theory that the free market plays a useful role in the development of industrialized societies. It is to disprove the theory. Refute means disprove or say that this theory is false. It is to disprove the theory about free market playing a useful role in the development of industrialized societies. Is it a good argument? See, in the passage, see, we are talking about the primary purpose. The primary purpose of the passage is not to talk about whether free market is playing a useful role or a useless role. It is to say that price fixing is not such a bad thing as being projected by the economists who support the free market, because everywhere, whether it is in USA or in Europe or in other socialist countries, price fixing is being done. Whether it is a free market economy or a socialist economy, price fixing is done. In some places it is done formally, in some places it is done informally. So this may not be a primary purpose. One more problem is that the statement is saying that free market plays a useful role in the development of industrial societies. We are talking about the free market only with regard to the price establishment. Whether free market may be having lot of other useful roles. So when you say that this passage is disproving the theory about the free market playing useful role, means you are saying that the free market is useless in all aspects. The passage is saying that the free market is useless in all aspects. This is not true. The passage is only saying that in terms of price establishment, free market theories are not really good or correct. That is the meaning. So this is why this may not be a good answer. Option B, suggest methods by which economists and members of the government of the United States can recognize and combat price fixing. So is it that this passage is actually suggesting methods by which economists and your government can fight the price fixing by large firms. The passage is essentially supporting the price fixing. So how can it suggest methods to fight price fixing? So that is why this again is wrong. Option C suggests that in industrialized societies, price fixing and the operation of the free market are not only compatible but also mutually beneficial. In industrialized societies, price fixing and free market are compatible. It means they can go hand in hand. That is, yes, it is true, because it says that even in the US, price fixing is going on, where US is a free market economy. So they are compatible but mutually beneficial. Probably this part is not really, whether they are benefiting each other, that is not really stated in the passage. So this part is not really correct. It is compatible. Yes, the price fixing and free market can go hand in hand. They can go hand in hand, but whether they are mutually beneficial or not mutually beneficial, that part is not stated. So this is a partially correct answer. So we will keep it in our mind as a possible answer. If you don't get any other answers, we may go for this one. Option D, explain the various ways in which the industrialized societies can fix prices in order to stabilize the free market. It says that there are various methods in which industrialized societies can fix prices in order to stabilize the free market. The various methods are there. It is stated in industrialized societies. There are formally they are done, informally they are done. So that all these things are talked about in the passage. So this is not really a bad option, but the problem is the primary purpose. This is not the primary purpose of the passage. It is only stated as a supplementary information, the different methods by which industrialist societies are fixing the prices. So this is not the primary purpose of the passage. So not your answer. Option E, argue that price fixing in one form or another is an inevitable part and of and benefit to the economy of any industrialized society. Yes. So it says that any industrialized society, whether it is a free market industrialized society or a socialist industrialized society, price fixing is there. It is there in one form or another. So in some societies, it is in the direct or formal method. In another society, it is informal method. Anyway, it is inevitable, means unavoidable. It is there. So even in free market economies, it is there, and it is beneficial to the economy. So this is a good statement. It talks about all the economies, how price fixing is done and how it is benefiting the economy. So this is a better answer than C, because C is talking about price fixing is beneficial to free market economy, or free market economy is beneficial to price fixing. That is not correct, because this aspect is not stated in the passage, as a result of which this becomes a E becomes a better answer than option C. So C, you may have some problems whether C will be a good answer. The problem is here the mutually beneficial aspect, whereas E is the best answer because it says that in all the economies, this kind of price fixing is happening and it is good for the economy. So this is why option E will be the correct answer. Question number 2, the passage provides information that would answer which of the following questions about price fixing. So the passage can give information regarding which of these questions. What are the some of the ways in which prices can be fixed? Yes, it is given in the passage. Passage says that in industrialized Western societies like USA and all, it is done in an informal manner, means there are no formal agreements between the companies in a particular industry. Informally, for the common benefit of all the companies, they are fixing the prices. So, and in other non-socialist countries, they are doing it in a formal and in a very obvious manner. And in socialist countries also, some form of price fixing is happening. So there are various methods in which price fix can be fixed. This idea is information regarding this is given by the passage. So this is this question can be answered by the passage. For what products price fixing is likely to be more profitable than the operation of the free market? Which are the products for which price fixing is profitable than free market operation? The passage is not talking about any products in the passage. The passage is only talking about the industrialized societies. No specific products are talked about in the passage. As a result of which, we cannot get any information to answer this question from the passage. Third one, is price fixing more common in socialist industrialized societies or in non-socialist industrialized societies? So the passage is talking about para 3 and para 4. Para 3 is talking about non-socialist industrialized societies other than USA. Para 4 about socialist industrialized societies like US, Soviet Union. But where price fixing is happening more and where it is happening less, do we have the idea? No, the passage is, both these paragraphs are not telling anything regarding whether here in non-socialist countries it is happening more or in socialist countries it is happening more. So this question cannot be answered, because the question is price fixing more common in socialist industrial societies or in non-socialist industrial societies, where it is more widespread? We cannot say. We can only say that in socialist countries, the restricted freedom is given for price fixing, whereas in the non-socialist countries, complete freedom or formal agreements are there. So formal agreements are there here. For socialist countries also formal agreements are there. Non-socialist countries also formal agreements are there. But in socialist countries, it is in a slightly restricted manner as per the passage. What the passage is saying? Some of the flexibility in adjusting prices. So not full flexibility is given, but some of the flexibility. But does it mean that it is more common in non-socialist countries? You cannot say. The degree of freedom only, but how many companies are using it and how many companies are not using it, we cannot say. That is why this question also cannot be answered clearly using the information provided in the passage, whereas this one can be answered. So that is why option A will be the answer, not option anyway, option 1 and 3 only is not an option. Even if you have a doubt whether 3 can be answered, here 1 and 3 only is not an option at all. So you are not having to break your head over this particular thing. So you can very easily say that 1 only is the answer. Question number 3. The author's attitude towards most economies in the United States in the first paragraph can be described as. So, what is the author's attitude towards most economies in the US in the first sentence? So, would you read the first sentence? Most economies, they seem captivated by the spell of the free market. Consequently, nothing seems good or normal that does not accord with the requirements of the free market. Means most economists are actually completely attracted by the spell. They are under the magical spell of the free market theories, as a result of which anything that is not agreeing to the principles of the free market theory, they are not accepting them as good or normal. This is the meaning. So coming back to the passage, what is the attitude? Is it spiteful and envious? Spiteful means hateful and jealous. There is no hatred or no jealousy in the attitude of the other. So not an answer. Scornful and denunciatory. What is scornful? Contemptuous means having a lot of contempt towards the economist, and denunciatory means bad mouthing. They are talking a lot of bad things. So the author is not contemptuous of the economists. They are, nor is he saying that economists are totally useless. They are fools. Those kind of things. He is not saying. So this again, he will be a very extreme option. Critical and condescending. What is critical? He is critical of the attitude. He is critical means he says that their stance is not correct. So they are so much under the spell of free market theory that they are not willing to accept anything other than the free market principle. So critical, yes. And condescending means patronizing. He knows that these economists, their attitude is not correct, but he is tolerating them. So that is why critical and condescending. So patronizing, condescending means patronizing, tolerating. Even though you know that they are wrong, you are tolerating their attitude. That is called condescension. So critical, yes, he says that they are wrong, but he is tolerating or patronizing their attitude. So good answer. Keep it in your mind. Ambivalent but deferential. Ambivalent means doubtful but respectful. Means so that he is doubtful about their attitude. Is there any doubt in the minds of the other? Other says that no, they are completely wrong. So he is having no doubt. Deferential, respectful. So he is yes, he is respectful towards the economists, but he is not doubtful whether their theories are correct or not. So this again is wrong. Then uncertain but interested means he is again doubtful about their beliefs. So no, the author is not at all doubtful. He says that the economist's beliefs are not correct. In the subsequent paragraphs, he is very clearly proving that the theories of the economists are incorrect. So uncertain is wrong. Interested. Is he interested in their theories? No, he is not interested because he said that they are wrong. So that is why this is wrong. So this is the best answer, critical and condescending. Critical means he says that these beliefs of US economists are not correct. Condescending, he is patronizing or he is tolerating those attitudes or those beliefs and then going on to prove that these beliefs are wrong. So that is why critical and condescending is a good answer. Question number 4, it can be inferred from the author's argument that a price fixed by the sellers seems pernicious in the first paragraph. What is pernicious? When something is harmful in a gradual manner, it becomes pernicious. So what the passage is saying, a price that is determined by the seller or anybody other than the group of consumers is damaging. This is the belief of the economists. So the economists believe that the price that is determined either by the seller or by anybody other than the consumers is a very damaging thing as per the beliefs of the economists. So that this is the meaning. So the economists believe that prices should be determined by the consumers only. Anybody else determining the prices is something that is damaging to the economy. That is the belief of the US economy. So what is the pernicious? Because why the author says that the price fixed by the seller seems pernicious. So this is, it is not the author's argument. You have to understand that it is the argument, it is the belief system regarding the of the US economists. So the author says that the US economies are consequent. So this is a continuation of the second sentence. Nothing seems good or normal that does not accord to the requirements of the free market. A price that is determined by the seller is considered pernicious. Means the continuing the statement, the idea in the previous statement, he says that the US economies are so much captivated by the spell of the free market that they think that any price that is determined either by the seller or anybody other than the buyer is a very, very damaging thing. This is the idea. So, what is the answer? People do not have confidence in large firms. No, we are not talking about large firms, and people do not expect the government to regulate prices. Again, wrong. We are not talking about people. So that is why these things we are only talking about economists. So option C, most economists believe that consumers as a group should determine prices. Correct. Because that is why the consumers believe that anybody else other than the consumers, if they determine the prices, that is pernicious. So this is a good answer, probable answer. Option D, most economists associate fixed prices with communist and socialist economies. We are not talking about, in that particular statement, we are not at all talking about communist or socialist economies. Option E, most economists believe that no one group should determine prices. Wrong again. What is the belief of the economists? They say that only the consumer group should determine prices, whereas this option says that nobody should determine the prices. Not correct. So, very clearly, C will be the answer, because the belief is that consumers are the only group who should determine prices as per the US economists. And that is why they believe that anybody else determine the prices is a pernicious thing or a damaging thing. Okay, go to the fifth question. The suggestion in the passage that price fixing in industrial societies is normal arises from the other statement that price fixing is. So the suggestion in the passage that price fixing in industrial societies is normal arises from the other statement that price fixing is what? Price fixing is what? Is what he says that the last paragraph, sentence of first paragraph, can say that price fixing is normal in all industrialized societies because the industrial system itself provides as an effortless consequences of its own development price fixing that it requires. Means price fixing is definitely inevitable in an industrial society because the industrial system, because of its own development, needs price fixing, or it provides price fixing as an effortless consequence of its own development. Means whenever industrialized societies develop, automatically price fixing also has to develop. That is the meaning. So it is a natural consequence of the industrialization. This is the meaning. That is why in the point I have written, the point here, it is a natural byproduct of industrial development. Price fixing is something that is going to happen naturally when industrial development happens. So this is the meaning. So once you understand that, price fixing is what? A profitable result of economic development. Profitable result. No, it is. No, we are not talking about profit here. So this is wrong. An inevitable result of the industrial system. Probably correct answer, because it is inevitable. Whenever industrial system develops, this price fixing also has to develop. So good answer. Then third one, the result of a number of carefully organized decisions. We are not talking about any carefully organized decisions here in that particular statement. We are only talking about the natural evolution of industrial system where price fixing also has to go hand in hand. That is what the meaning. So this is wrong. The phenomenon can common to industrialized and non-industrialized societies. Now we are talking only about industrialization and how price fixing evolves with industrialization. Option A, phenomenon best achieved cooperatively by government and industry. Again, wrong. We are not talking about government here. So this is why a result of the answer is an inevitable, means unavoidable result of industrialization or the industrial system. So whenever the passage says that price fixing becomes inevitable in industrialized societies, because as long as industrial development happens, price fixing has to come in. And that is explained in the next paragraph. So option B is the correct answer. An inevitable and unavoidable result of the industrial system. All right. Question number 6. According to the author, price fixing in non-socialist countries is often. So we are talking about the countries where, other than USA, where what is happening in the third paragraph. We have seen that in the non-socialist countries other than USA, what is happening? Price fixing is done in a very formal and very clear and obvious manner. The third paragraph will give you the answer. Intentional price fixing in an overt fashion. Overt means very open fashion. This intentionally it is done in a very open fashion, and it is done by the cartels. Cartels means a group of companies associating with each other is called a cartel, and informal price fixing agreement. So both formally as well as informally price fixing is done, and it is done in a very deliberately and in a very open manner. It is not done secretively. It is done in a very open manner, and it is a very common thing in covering the members of an industry are commonplace. So these are very common in that particular non-socialist countries. This is the mean. So accidental but productive. No, accidental. It is not accidental. It is deliberate. Illegal but useful. Again, wrong. It is not illegal. It is done in a open manner with the agreements means it is legal. Legal and innovative. Legal, correct. Innovative means what? Something that is done in a new manner, or something that is not being done before, something that is done in a for the first time or in an innovative manner. Means something that is done for the first time or in a new manner, that is called innovative. So this innovation may not be correct because there is it is not saying that it is an innovative thing. Traditional and rigid. Traditional, it is done in a very orthodox manner and a very rigid manner. Again, wrong. We don't know whether it is done in an orthodox or rigid manner. Then intentional and widespread. So this is the best answer. It is done in a deliberate manner. It is very common. So this is correct. Illegal is correct, but innovative, we don't know. So that is why this also is wrong. So option E will be the correct answer. Intentional and widespread is a better and best answer for this question. Then question number 7. According to the author, what is the result of the Soviet Union's change in economic policy in the 1970s? So what happened in the 1970s? Till then, Soviet Union, the prices were fixed by the government, but in 1970s, some freedom was given to the industries in Soviet Union to fix prices on their own. That was the change, and it was considered as a change towards free market principle by the US economists. These are the things given. So for Soviet firms show greater profit, not stated in the passage. Soviet firms have less control over the free market. No, the passage says that Soviet firms are having as much less control as the US firms. Means both Soviet firms as well as US firms, they don't have any control over the free market. So this is wrong. Soviet firms are able to adjust to technological advances. We have not discussed about technological advances. Soviet firms have some authority to fix prices. Yes, some leverage or freedom is given to fix prices, correct? Soviet firms are more responsive to the free market. No, that is not correct. The passage says that Soviet firms as well as US firms are no more subject to prices established by a free market and they exercise little influence than our capitalist firms. Means neither the Soviet firms nor the capitalist firms have any influence on the free market fixing of prices. Means they cannot have any influence on the prices. They are subject prices established, free market establishment of prices. Means this is not at all being done either in the Soviet Union or in the USA. This free market fixing of prices is not done. It is only the fixing of prices by the sellers that is being done. That is the meaning. So again, no more responsive to the Soviet firms are more responsive to the free market is wrong. They are equally less responsive to the free market like the US firms. That is what the passage says. So option D is the clear and correct answer to this question. Okay, go to the next one. With which of the following statements regarding the behavior of large firms in industrialized societies would the author be most likely to agree? So again, we are talking about the second paragraph where they said that large firms in industrialized societies, they are very less in number, but they are competing with each other for a small group of consumers. And since they are competing with each other, for their selfish interest, they will not be overcharging. And for the common interest, they will not be undercharging also. Means for their selfish interest, they will not be fixing their prices too high because they will lose the customers. For the common interest of the industry, they will not be reducing the prices too low, because that will make the products unattractive for the consumer. So the demand will come down. So that will harm the common interest of all the firms in the industry. That is why they will not be reducing the prices too much also. This is the meaning. So the directors of the large firms will continue to anticipate the demand for products. Yes. Why they are having a common interest? They want to keep the demand steady. It is given in the second para. In full consideration of the needs that it has in common with the other large firms competing for the same consumers. That is the what is the common need of all the firms. Each large firm will thus avoid significant price cutting, because price cutting would be prejudicial to the common interest in a stable demand for products. So the stable demand for products is the common interest. So in order to continue to have a stable demand for products, they will not be reducing the prices. So that is the common interest. So once you understand that, this answer becomes very clear. The directors of large firms will continue to anticipate the demand for. So they want the products to have a continuous demand. So in order to keep up that demand, they will not be reducing the prices in a very large manner also. So this is a good answer. Option B, the directors of large firms are less interested in achieving a predictable level of profit than in achieving a large profit. We are not talking about profit in the passage. We are only talking about keeping up the demand and then also not losing out to the competition. So selfish interest is not losing out to the competition. Common interest is keeping the demand steady. So that is why the profit part is not at all discussed. Option C, the directors of large firms will strive to reduce the cost of their product. Cost also is not discussed. The question is, which is the thing that the author is going to agree the most? So whatever the author has discussed, with that, the author will agree, right? Many directors believe that government should establish the prices that will be charged for products. That is not at all correct. They want the freedom to fix the prices on their own. Many directors of judge believe that the prices charged for products is likely to increase annually. The annual increase is also not stated in the passage. So very clearly, option A will be the answer. They want to continue to have that demand for the product. So in order to have that continuous demand, they will try to keep the prices at a reasonable level, neither too high nor too low. This is the meaning. So option A will be the answer. Okay, the last question. The author is primarily concerned with, what is the primary concern of the author in the passage? Primary concern is what he wants to prove, that price fixing is not such a bad thing, as it is being projected by the US economists. So US economists are saying that any kind of fixing of prices by anybody other than consumers is not good. Whereas in this passage, the author's primary consideration is to prove that price fixing by the sellers is not such a bad thing, and it is being done in USA, in industrialized societies other than USA, non-socialist countries as well as socialist countries. This is the primary concern. So predicting the consequences of a practice. Predicting means what is going to happen in the future regarding the consequences of a practice. Not the correct answer. We are not talking about the future. We are talking about whatever is going on in all the industrialized societies now. So this is wrong. Then criticizing a point of view. Yes, probably correct. He is criticizing the point of view of the US economists. Means US economists, they are having the point of view that free market principles are the best form of price establishment, and anything else is wrong. So that he is criticizing this point of view of the US economists. So good answer. Calling attention to recent discoveries. So we are not talking about any recent discoveries in the passage. So that is why this is wrong. Proposing a topic for research. The author is not saying that this topic has to be researched. So he is already establishing that this is going on. This is a good thing that is beneficial for the economy. So there is no need to propose a research. Summarizing conflicting opinions. He is giving a summary of two different opinions. No, because he is not, he is very much convinced that the opinion of US economies are wrong, and he is very much in favor of the opinion that he is putting forth, that the price fixing is a good thing. So when you summarize conflicting opinions means you talk about both the sides of the story, both the opinions in an equal manner, and putting out a summary and leaving the author to decide on his own, or leaving not the author, leaving the reader to decide whether which one is correct. That is called summarizing conflicting opinions. Here, that's not the correct answer, because the author gives us a very clear idea that the economists of USA are wrong. Their point of view is not correct. So that is why this option is the best answer, criticizing a point of view. So this is how you arrive at the answers. So the key is understanding the passage. If you are, even if you are not from a non-economist background, that means you have not studied economics as a subject in your graduation or undergraduation, you should be able to read and understand the passage. Because the passage is for layman's reading also. The very high funda economic terms are not used in the passage. So any layman should be able to, at least management aspirants should definitely be able to read and understand these kind of passages. So for your benefit, I have given you the main points in the paragraph in simple language so that you can clearly understand the points, even if you have not understood some of the aspects by reading the passage. That is the advantage. So your main thing in RCs are to reduce the passage into these kind of simple points. Means this you have to do in your mind. That is why reading is the most important skill that is required. You while you read the paragraph, you have to enumerate the or list out the main points in the passage in your mind. Keep it in your mind and then go for attempting the question, so that you don't have to go back to the passage recollect the things. You can just by from your understanding, you can answer most of the questions. Maybe for one or two questions you will have some doubts. Otherwise, you without referring back to the passage, you should be able to answer the questions. This is the technique you should be developing. If you already have it, try to fine tune the technique, because the exam is going to be very near. So this fine tuning you need to do as much as possible and as quickly as possible. So I hope you like the content in the video. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, so that I get more reach, which will motivate me to do further videos on these kind of topics. Thank you. Bye bye.